What's up, Shady Sports? I'm back here with a very special interview. Coach Jeff Higgins. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Excited to have you on. So, man, you've had a crazy career from start to finish. From coaching, playing, teaching. Take me back to your high school days.
High school. I guess that's why I am who I am today. You always got to go back to where you started and your roots. And I moved from Washington D.C. up to upstate New York and played at a small high school, Lake George High School. Graduating class of '90. Had some great people, role models in my life. Coach Tim Donnelly, head football coach at Lake George, and of course all my great teammates that played there. And that's where it all started. Playing multiple sports and trying to be, Mr. Athletic and just competing and doing the best I could, man. But yeah, Lake George, New York, high school, and football, basketball, and competition, man. That's where it started.
It's New York sports. How have you felt like the sports have evolved in New York over
Oh,
the
I mean, sports are. Oh, we always say, right? If we knew now or knew then what we know now, right? It's something. That's why I moved to Florida, just because sports and fitness is so big, and of course, when you have a warm weather state, it becomes being able to do that year round, and that's the type of person I am. But to what you're talking about, think of all the content you see out there with 8U, John Doe signs with the Massachusetts youth football team. They didn't have that stuff when I was coming up, and not to discredit it, not that either, but they say, I'm offered at Springfield College. Well, offers to me were Division 1. Now offers, if they're going to go play something. So anyway, it's evolved to be a kind of like, this is what I'm doing type atmosphere and call of athletics. And, from parents to kids, they're just trying to boost their kids up and make it important. And, I'm not mad at them for that, because footballers and all athletics to me are extremely important. But yeah, the evolution of athletics and where we've gone. I mean, think about the NIL, the NIL and transfer portals, or here in Florida where you could just transfer to go to any school you want, based on what you want to do. So yeah, it's definitely evolved. It's different. This is where we're at, and that's what you get when you get competition. So in one sense, I'm all for it.
So that's interesting that you bring up the NIL and the transferring high schools. What do you think of all that? I mean, the NIL, it's kind of changed the landscape of how high schoolers interact, like in sports and even like as people in society. So
I mean, I can only give you something that I went through to compare, which is different. So, believe it or not, I'm on a PlayStation 2 video game, right? Playing for the Florida Bobcats, Arena 1 back in, 97, 98. And all they did was have you sign a paper, they can use your rights. Well, then, of course, once the evolution happened, people are getting paid for it, right? Well, that's where we're going with this NIL. And it's just, to make money off your name. It's just, I mean, I guess someone a lot more, maybe even you, into it than I am, can say it's really due to the social media market and what people want to see and envision. But anything that's going to provide opportunity for people to make it, whether it's high school kids, whether it's pro athletes, whether even if it's parents, I guess this is capitalism that's its finest, and why we're in America. But I don't really have I guess, an opinion on whether it's good or it's bad, and we haven't seen it long enough. But anything that provides athletes and kids and people opportunity to do better, I'm for it. So, what do you think about it? I mean, you're young at heart, and you're coming into this. I mean, what's your view on it all?
I think it's a little too much. I mean, I understand being able to make money if you're a guy like Adrian Peterson, Baker Mayfield, that level. But if you're a
Yeah,
high school kid, at the end of the day, I mean, you go back and you look at the top 10 number one running backs from, 17 years, how many of them really panned out? If you look at those list of 17, seven of them are in jail, two of them have died, and then four out of 17 have made it to the NFL. So it's
I
kind of
want you to think of one thing different, though. You ever heard of Milli Vanilli?
no, I'm
One
not.
hit wonder. Google it. They were lip syncing, right? Made millions. Or let's think about something else here. How about these guys, kids, right? Get on their YouTube and they're playing video games for money. Now, I will say because true athletics to me is something that you respect the game and you want to love it and you want to do it because it's competition. If you have that part in you and you're making some finances off it, then I'm all for it. I do agree with you that, sometimes you look at like 5-star athletes and they don't always go to the NFL as an example, right? Or basketball players. But if there's enough money to go around for people to pay, I don't know what too much is too much. But as long as it's for the goodness of the sport and the goodness when you still love the sport and you want to make money, I guess that part is where it gets kind of fishy. But there's a lot of people making a lot of other monies off other things that didn't stick. Is all I'm saying. you know.
I understand what you're saying. So I'm involved with a company up here that hosts the All American game down in Florida. That's where like the top 5-star, 4-star recruits go. And
Mhm.
they told me that over like the past 5 years, there's been an uptick of athletes who decide not to participate in the All American game because they feel like it's a waste of time. Which like I understand that, but at the same time, it's important for athletes to go through with the commitment, and kind of follow through.
Yeah, I totally get it. That's where I said about wanting to compete because we came from a different breed. With my age, if you were asked to play in an all-star game and I went to an all-star game and I'm thinking about one in particular as a kick returner, and then they kick the ball out of bounds, I have a word with the coach after and say, what am I doing in an all-star game? You want me to kick return because I'm a kick returner, but you're kicking the ball out of bounds. That's a waste of my time, right? So kick it to me. But that's that competitive nature, right? Whereas now, some of those people that don't want to play in those games, it could be to not risk injury, to not, I'm not all for that. I used to tell parents as a former athletic director and coach, listen, you can come out of your house and slip on ice and get hurt. So yeah, I think you're going to be all right coming doing plyometrics a couple days a week. Let's get it. But yeah, it's definitely for some decision making and some ones that have made us shake our heads. I'm with you. Um, but yeah, I do like the opportunity for people because I always think about the one person or whoever that, you know, didn't have something, and because of this, they got their way out. I'll just leave it at that. So that part about it, I like.
I agree with you on that. So you attended college at Ithaca College in New York. College football has like changed, like we've been saying, but I feel like Division 3, there's a tradition about it. It's kind of it's grown, but it's also the tradition that stayed the same. Do you go back to your old college and like go to football games?
As much as possible. I've been to a couple. Most recently, they were in playing at MetLife Stadium, the Cortica Jug. But to your point, the tradition, a lot of times when you have people that aren't playing for money, and let's face it, if you're a scholarship athlete, you're playing for money. Well, Division 3 mostly, it's the love of the game. A lot of guys aren't getting, full ride, so to speak. I was blessed to play for a national championship competing team, national powerhouse at the time that won 3 national championships. Mount Union took over for us, and started winning those championships. I'm sure you're aware of them, but yeah, it's definitely remarkable to feel. Uh, I guess that feeling of all those teammates that I had back at Ithaca College, how much they did for me and my, the things that I was able to accomplish and the things we were able to do for a team, as our team. But I think most importantly, how as I grew as a man, because when you get out of high school, 18 to 22, you grow up a real lot. Definitely I needed to grow up a lot more after 22 up until 25 to even 30 and even today. But a lot of those guys I spent with, man, we gave our blood, sweat, and tears. Early mornings and late nights, Friday night meetings, and on the quest for a national championship, living up at Ithaca during the summer, to work out and throw and get ready because for one reason, we loved each other. We wanted to stay together. We wanted to win the national championship. Nothing better than that feeling. If I could go back and do it all over again, I wouldn't change anything, man. I would just probably work harder. I don't know how that's possible, but I'd find a way.
That's what championship culture is all about. Believing in each other and being sacrifice stuff to reach that one goal at the end. So after college, you went and you played arena football. in the AFL too. So how I mean, right now we don't really have like a secondary league. We have a lot of like thirdly leagues, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
And then we have the top three league. What would you compare the AFL to in today's like leagues?
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's a little different because when I came out, and yeah, was went to the mini camp with the Ravens, didn't stick, and then ended up with the Florida Bobcats in Arena One. Was there, then actually went to Albany, New Jersey in Arena One. This is before a shoulder surgery. And then when I really finally stuck and played game after game and became like a top player, that was in Arena Two. That didn't happen until after, say 2000, 2001, when I was four tough player of the year for the Macon Knights. But to answer your question, because right then, 2001, I got out of college in 97. So now I'm already 27, 26, pushing to where I'm ending my career at age 30. But that AF1, or let's compare AF2. I mean, I would compare it to, today's, I guess, IFL and our National Arena League. I actually did play in the IFL for 2 games at the time, trying to get up into Canada. That was in 2000 before I drove to Roanoke and played in the Arena 2. But I think the IFL game since then, it seems like it's improved because it's been so stable and they played for so long. But here's what I'm going to just say to keep it generic, out of respect for all athletes, and this is no sugarcoating the question. When you are playing professional football, regardless, you are in the top 3% of all athletes, of all football players, because there only is the NFL, the CFL, the XFL, the USFL, and then your arena leagues. So if you have 8 leagues, okay, and then count the number of football players that you have, to be playing at any level, that's just remarkable in the top, that, like I said, that top 3-4%. So there's guys in that IFL, there's guys in the NAL that could be um, fully compensated and last, and there's guys that are going to go on to play in the XFL, the CFL, and hopefully the NFL. So they're out there. Talent is there. They might not be on every single position on every single team, but it's definitely there, and they can play at multiple levels. I have the utmost respect for all those players at any level because I did it at that level as well. And no, didn't get it to do at the highest level. But some of these guys you're seeing today, they will. They will do it.
So you talked about the AFL. They made the big announcement that they're coming back in 2024. Do you believe that the AFL will be back?
Um, I believe there may be an attempt. I believe that guys are being talked to and spoken to and told that hey, we're looking at doing this and you're part of our plans. And I'm talking from a say general manager, head coach, that type of stuff and experience. I'd like to think, and I'd like to root any league to come back and do it. But the truth of the matter is, until there's some major type of, I guess, marketing, not social media, because you can say anything on social media, you can put anything on the internet. But until I see, things that are on the news, things that are on ESPN, things that are on major networks, I guess it's a lot of hope right now. But I don't have any privy to 100% information whether it is or not. But I'd like to see it happen. I would. I'd like to see it happen.
I feel like back in the day there was a lot of like AFL players that went straight to the NFL. And we kind of see now with the USFL and the XFL using like those being the second tier to the NFL. But in my opinion, like I see a lot of IFL guys who I think are better than USFL players. Do you think that will ever get to a point in the sport where guys can go straight to the NFL?
You mean just from all of our leagues, from any league, or you
Yeah.
mean from? Yeah, I mean, well, they've calmed back down. It's not something that happens a lot, but I mean, look at the story as an example. Who I played against once, Kurt Warner. Going from the AFL on the Iowa Barnstormers and that whole story. If you've seen that story, and there's other guys. There's guys There's a couple receivers that played in Albany, then playing with the New York Jets. There's guys all over the place, but no, there's a guy out there right now working his tail off, and he's from Podunk, Massachusetts, or Podunk, Orlando, Florida, wherever he's from, and he's got a vision and nothing is stopping him. And the only person that has need to believe in him is him. And so that's what's going to happen. That's why we have these leagues. That's why there's opportunity, because somebody will do it. I don't know where and how. I mean, I've seen a couple players I coached in Orlando that I thought, they're one non-injury away, or one, maybe phone call, or maybe a couple of years based on how old they were, where I felt like they could 100% be in the CFL. And that's the level right underneath the NFL. So if you're there, I mean, you're there and you're that close. That's what people don't understand, the talent of these guys. But when you're in the NFL, of course, there's, that they're the top 0.5% for a reason. So it's remarkable when people do it. But I'm here to help them do it, hope they do it, and wish they could do it, and help see them do it.
So the CFL is like really interesting. Last year there was a quarterback for the BC Lions named Nathan Rourke out of Ohio, and he, went to BC, played really good, and then propelled the opportunity into a opportunity with Jacksonville Jaguars. Do we see more CFL players switch to the NFL? You think?
It's tough. You see it both ways. They, of course, in the CFL have the American rules, is how many Americans they have, and this and that. So, it's tough sometimes to see them, what they do go from the NFL to the CFL. But yes, you will. You will. The CFL is, and I don't want to put a position on it, but I could see if you're a top quarterback in the CFL getting an opportunity, which some of them have. Obviously, it's a passing football game, with 12 players in the field, 5 wide receivers, 6 guys going out for a pass with the running back. So there's opportunity for not only that, but, for receivers and defensive backs that have to cover them. I don't know of any guys right now that I would say they're going to go, but whenever you have opportunity, man, that's a chance for someone to do it, and they will do it. It's just a matter of who and when. But yeah, the games are definitely, how do I say it? The games are set up for you to showcase your abilities, to provide you an opportunity to go somewhere else. It's just a matter of being in the right place at the right time and having the right person believe in you after you believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself and you do what it takes, someone eventually is going to see it and they're going to believe in you. And that's what that's the way you got to feel. That's the way you got to compete. And that's what's going to get you into the NFL.
So you played for a ton of arena organizations throughout your career. Now we see in today's arena game, we see a lot of organizations, come and go, and not necessarily have the longevity to survive. What do you think more organizations need to do, and what have you seen through your experiences to be successful?
As far as the different arena football teams,
Yeah.
it's all very simple. The simple cliche thing, right? It starts at the top. I've seen places where straight up they knew they weren't going to make any money, and the owners wanted to win a championship, and they paid knowing they would lose. It didn't matter because they had the money. But I've also seen it where people have had the money, but they got too involved. And, I hate to use the situation like Jerry Jones, but everybody can relate to that. And I'm not saying whether it's good or bad with him. I'm just saying what people say. But an owner that involved, that had maybe, too much involvement, and it kind of rubbed the culture the wrong way. And because of that, it cost the team. I've seen that. If you look at my arena career, I was lucky. And listen, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, every one of those years, those were all championship, not winning the whole thing, but going on to the semifinals or playing for the Arena Cup. They all had the same thing in common. Great coaching and discipline and organization. They had great run, administrative, general manager, all those positions that go with it. And it wasn't always about, spending more money, so to speak, or it was as it was spending the right money. So a couple times I've seen it where, you know, the staff and GM did a great job of finding young players. They didn't get them for as much money as they may have gotten some older guys, but they knew the talent. They paid them less. They went with some other talented people. They put it together. It worked. Um, and of course, I've seen it on the other hand where, the ownership didn't really understand what um, what a quality football program looks like and feels like. You would think that you want these places to prepare someone to go to the NFL, right? So you want to emulate the NFL. If you're not running it like that, in my opinion, then why do it? We're not out here just having fun, right? We're trying to win a championship. And if you're trying to use this as a showcase to springboard you to the next level, then this is what it is. Now, when I say this is what it is, I'm talking about from planning and expectation to accountability, anything, fine system, whatever it is that you implement in your program, strength and conditioning in the off season, whatever. Um, because you want guys to be prepared for that. But if the ownership and everybody doesn't understand how that works, right? And how that what it really takes to get in that top 1%, which let's be real, there's 1% of people that do. The other 99% may or may not know. Only 1% is guaranteed to know. So with that being said, um, it sometimes gets convoluted, things get mixed, and if everybody's not on the right page, it just affects the whole culture. And then of course you don't, end up, being in a position where number one, you can promote guys to get to the NFL because they're not going to be prepared, and two, win a championship. So I think I covered most of it, but I've been on both sides and seen it. But it's a really good feeling when everybody's on the right page, everybody's doing the right thing, everybody understands the expectations, everything is organized, and it flows smoothly. And that doesn't mean you always have to agree. I can say, yes, sir, if I know what I'm going into and the owner says, this is what you want. I might say, hey, I don't agree, but yes, sir. I mean, that's what it is. So they have expectations too. Coaches have them, players have them. They go together, good things happen.
So ownership, in my opinion, is kind of a lot like education. You kind of own your culture per se, right? So
Right.
you have a background in education. Kind of as a student myself, it's kind of interesting to me because every teacher, educator, athletic director, coach, they all have a culture that they build. What was your experience in education, and when did you get started with that?
Holy smokes. Well, first I'll say I talk about it like it's not jail or something, but it sounds like that when I say I did 20 years in education. Okay, so 97 out of college, I was still trying to play professional football. So I was actually substitute teaching. And I'll fast forward as I was bouncing around, we learned a little bit about the football career early on. And I think we got to about 2001 where I was with Macon Knights. That's actually where I had a shoulder surgery, so I knew I probably wasn't going to the NFL anymore. I wanted to continue to play professional football. I took my first full-time job in Macon, Georgia, teaching special education in Bibb County, John W. Burke Elementary School. So down there, I actually I coached Westside High School and as a position coach, defensive backs. Which, if you remember, Kareem Jackson, I had him here. He's a 13-year vet. He went to Albany, or excuse me, he went to Alabama. Then was 19th pick in the draft in the NFL. Anyway, I was there for 1 year, and then basically I wanted to get traded to Cape Fear because my former offensive coordinator, Chris Siegfried, he's actually the NAL commissioner. He went to Cape Fear. So I took a job in Albany, New York to go back home. That was my second full-time position, where I eventually became an athletic director there, an assistant principal, and principal certification holder. And then, of course, moved down to Florida, continued to coach and teach phys ed, became assistant principal, and I was a director up until COVID, where I had 7 schools that I supported, 7 principals. But yeah, my first experience was making Georgia for a full-time position. So I basically did 20 full-time, full-service years at all different positions between teaching phys ed, special ed, athletic director, assistant principal, and director.
Man, that's a lot of positions, a lot of things to manage. But I'm sure you've learned a lot of lessons on the way. What can you apply from education to coaching?
Uh, 100%. To be real with you, some of the reason why I got out of education is because philosophy is in question sometimes. I mean, when we grew up, if we have a football game, right, and you get beat 100-0, does anybody give you 50 points and say it was 100-50?
No.
They don't do that. So when you go to a banquet and someone's getting trophies, does everybody get a trophy? No. So some of the things that we have to do in education um, kind of went against a little bit of philosophy with me because you got people that are earning whatever grades they're getting, and don't get me wrong, I want to support them, help them graduate, and all that. But accountability and discipline is big with me, and that doesn't have to change in athletics. It does have to change a little bit in education. It's changed big time. So I like the fact that in athletics, as somebody I mean, I've been over disciplined when I was a director. I was over disciplined. I was over safety. I was over testing and assessment. But with these things, it's all details. So in athletics, your culture of accountability, of course, respect, paying attention to the details, and doing the normal things over and over and over, 100% at all the time, while getting 2% better each day at all the things that people don't want to do. That's what creates, to me, a champion. And I don't know all the time if we're getting that full experience every single day, every single second in education, where I know you do in football. I know you do in strength and conditioning. I know you do in other athletic venues. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But yeah, that's what I feel.
So accountability and discipline, that's something that I think is a lot of struggling nowadays, with the age of social media, kind of like we talked about, and a lot of kids feeling like they can, take a shortcut. What have you seen? How can we implement more accountability and discipline, with kids and in our society in general?
I try to keep things simple, right? Keep it super simple. The KISS method. Um, I'm going to say it like this, right? Let's say you're in business. Accountability gives your account ability. Hear that twice. If you're a businessman, accountability gives your account, your bank account, ability. I think it's real simple. Accountability, on any team, it's going to create trust. If you're my teammate and you're doing all the little things and I'm doing the little things right, and it's fourth and goal, and I look at you, I don't need to look at you more than a second. I trust you. But the second that you don't have that, where someone might not be putting in as much effort or maybe doesn't have the discipline to do the things that they need to do, it changes. So, to recap a little bit of what you're kind of alluding to is these things, these accountabilities and disciplines and all the structure that you need. I'm just telling you that's the top 1%. That's the Super Bowl winner. That's the Grey Cup winner. That's the NAL champion, the IFL champion. It's the valedictorian. It's the salvatorian. It's, the top musician. It's the whatever it is. And unless you've been around those people the whole time, or even if you haven't been able to, I guess in my sense, right? Go to my high school, went to a state championship when I was younger, didn't win. I went to it. We played for the national championship in college. I didn't win it. In 2000 with Norfolk against Quad Cities in the semifinals for the arena championship, didn't win it. 2001, same thing with the Macon Knights, didn't win it. 2002, now all these didn't win it, right? But so if I'm not in that 1%, it was the top 2%. And maybe we needed to do a little bit more to be in that top 1%. That's your accountability. That's your responsibility. That's your trust. That's your respect. That's your culture. At the end of the day, I want to help build people like I was built. I'm still hungry. because in my mind, I belong in that top 1%. And I will not stop until I get there. It doesn't matter as if it's a player or as a coach. I'll be there. I know that because I believe in myself, and I'm going to show other people to do the same thing. Um, that's what you want, right? With your little network right here, right? You got goals. You'll be
Yeah,
there. Do what 99% of people don't, and you'll be in the top 1%.
that's a very important message. To hold yourself accountable. That's what Michael Jordan did. That's what Dennis Rodman did. That's what all these people did. They took the
Yep.
extra step when no one else wanted to. So
100%.
last year, kind of fast forwarding a little bit. Last year you coached in Orlando.
Yeah.
Where you're from. Um, Obviously there was a couple things from last year that some stuff went well, some stuff didn't. There was a lot of trial and error. How was building a team? In Orlando, did you feel like you were able to get the full experience out of being the head coach?
Uh, I was given a great opportunity. And at the end of the day, when you look at it, it didn't get done. Didn't get done the way that I wanted to get it done. I take full responsibility for that. Now you can make, all the excuses or whatnot, but there's no excuses. When we look at it, they're facts. We're one game away from the playoffs, but that's one game away. This isn't horseshoes and hand grenades. You don't get things for being close. Now, looking in hindsight, there's a lot of good things that happened. Was able to build a team and create a sense of accountability and discipline. That's rough to only have that for one season. You don't know what's going to happen the next season. Our coaching staff and myself, I had a great bunch of coaches, extremely organized. They got all their work done. Everything was planned. Everything was scripted. We watch film every single day of practice of other teams. That's the top 1%. That's what it needs. That's what you need to get it done. So we had all those things in place. If you'll remember this time, though, like we were doing pretty well. We lost our quarterback. And then also the USFL has sent out all those invites that they're going to play guys all that extra money. So we lost 5 or 6 guys that didn't actually get to play because of what happened. So those were really, really good football players. But at the end of the day, you're supposed to find new ones. You're supposed to pay them. You're supposed to put them on the field. Next guy up, you're supposed to win. We didn't do that. I was definitely responsible for mistakes. I was also responsible for a lot of positives as well. We did some good recruiting. We got some great guys, which they still have some of them guys, and them guys are still playing in the league somewhere. Not that you want to hold your head on challenges, but to see a coach that's 14 out of 16 on challenges on the year, that's unheard of. It was almost comical whenever I would challenge it. They already knew they were going to win it. That's just from knowing the rules and from the coaches on the side for helping me determine what should be challenged and not. But, you live and you learn. That was my first experience as a head professional football coach. It didn't, to me, go any differently. It wasn't any different than anything else, other than the fact that, I'm one play away from the playoffs. We don't get to the playoffs. The person that makes the play, he's in the playoffs, and he got coach of the year. So, I don't know. He gets coach of the year. We're out of the playoffs. So here I am talking to you. But great experience. Love the coaches. Love the players more than anybody. Helping them guys out. I actually tried to help get a few guys up in the CFL, and I still will do that. And owners were nothing but professional and great to me. I knew where we stood all along. I think that they probably took some things in organizational from me. I would hope to think so. I know that a lot of times when you're gone, people see what they have after you're gone. Hopefully that happened. If not, no worries at all. I'm fully content with the effort and what I put in. Would I do some things differently? Maybe. I might, maybe not be so hard in the beginning. I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, if the worst thing you do and is given 100% and being hard, it ain't so bad. So opportunities have come since then that I really appreciate, but I want to make sure that whatever opportunity that I take, it's the right one. I'd love obviously to be in Orlando. That's a little different. Not that, I still see a lot of them guys here, but I don't know even what's going to happen in Orlando or any of these other teams after the season. But We'll see. We'll see. And I'm ready. Had everything organized and everything done. I thought, and did a lot more work, and now it's all done. I just got to get a job and get winning. But yeah, it was a good opportunity, man, and I learned a lot of growing experiences here in Orlando, and I miss the players though, without a doubt.
So two of the players you had were Jeremiah Spicer and Rakeem Cato. Talk
Hmm.
about your relationship with the two of them.
I didn't really have too much of a relationship with Spicer. I saw him online. Another coach had him online. He come and joined the team. It was unfortunate. We were in training camp. I believe he got into a car accident. Um, so he wasn't able to play. He got put on the physically unable to perform list, which is what you do when you're on that list. Obviously, there's nothing you can do. You can't get paid. You can't do whatnot. But then he had some problems. He had to go back. Um, from what I understood, he didn't really like it when he came back here. I guess he came back again. Um, I would have liked to help him grow. I think he had a lot of fight. I like his story behind him. I like that story about him, but I never really developed a long relationship with him. So I knew him for less than a week, basically. I did, as I do reach out to all my players in the offseason before, we had several talks, but not until he came here. Rakeem Cato, a little different. Um, Phenomenal talent. He had to learn the arena ball game. I wanted to be in the under center, which he was a fan of the shotgun. Not that that bothered him. I think he might have been a little bit more comfortable in the shotgun, but he was learning, doing well. And then we had some, unfortunate things that happened between not only our team as far as a losing standpoint, but just what the direction that everybody wanted to go and people being involved from the top down. So collective decision was to, not have him with us towards the end of the year last year. Um, but I think that because I did have a good relationship with him, I think that if I was able to speak with him and speak with him after that, things might have been different. People learn and grow. People make mistakes, me included. I think that I could have handled many things, maybe even those guys different. I don't know. Sometimes it's not even what you do; it's what other people perceive. So perception becomes reality, they say, right? But at the end of the day, I wish them both well. I don't know where Jeremiah's playing. I think Rakeem actually, when Fayetteville, which they had just folded, I think he came back down to Orlando, and from what I heard, has been doing really well when he was up in Fayetteville, doing well down in Orlando. Um, we'll see because I think he's going to get an opportunity to play, and I think he can be a heck of a quarterback. Not he can be, he is a heck of a quarterback. Just a matter of whether or not they get the timing down. But shoot, him to Darius Prince could be a real nice target to see eventually here over and over. But yeah, both good football players, I believe, that are in different um, stages, I think, of their playing, and I'm glad I was even at least able to coach them for a brief time. But I know Rakeem a little bit better than I do Spicer.
So, coming to the last couple of questions here, I know you're involved with your fitness at Crunch Fitness. What's that routine like daily? It takes a lot to train young people, and
Yeah. Well, now you're alluding back to when I said I got stuck in education for 20 years. So I decided that I'm going to do what made me a man and how I become who I am. I'm going to start growing other people through that same avenue, which is lifelong fitness, strength and conditioning, and of course sports, athletics, or football. So I decided to not go back into teaching. I still coach high school football right here. Dr. Phillips, quarterback coach, special teams, one of the elite premier programs here in Orlando. So I'm the special teams coordinator and quarterback coach. I still do that. But I decided to go to the gym. So, you know, I ended up in the top percentage of trainers out of 1,800. I was near the top in a short period of time. I haven't even been there a year, but I get up and I'm at the gym at 5 a.m. I start training people back to back to back to back all day long. I've got 75-year-old. I get off his blood pressure medicine. I've got husband and wives that train together. I've got 15-year-olds playing soccer. I've got a MLS player who's up in Ohio playing professional soccer. I've got a couple kickboxers, jiu-jitsu fighters. I love to train all different types of people. If you're motivated and you're willing to put in all the extra work to get to whatever that goal is, weight loss, fitness, rehab, then you can do well with Coach Higgs. So I actually absolutely love it. I love training there. I love affecting lives and changing people for the better. Um, I love helping all my teammates, my new trainers. There's 30 of them there. So I love helping all those guys and girls too. They're a great team. And it gives me flexibility because it's like running your own business. So you set your own schedule. So if I need to get out at 2 o'clock to coach Dr. Phillips when we come here in August, I'll do that. And in the off season, like now tonight, I worked 5 a.m. and I was there till 6:30 p.m. Felt like I wasn't even there. Probably used to pro football hours. That's probably what it is. But yeah, you don't even get tired. So then after that, if I'm out at 2, 3, or 4, I'll set up some quarterback trainings and train some quarterbacks or wide receivers, or do speed and agility outside because I love working with whatever pros, college people, or a lot of kids. So that's really what I do. It's a great opportunity. I do really well, and it gives me the opportunity to go wherever I want for pro football or coaching other games or doing whatever. So
That's awesome. So you mentioned that you trained Kareem Jackson when you were defensive back coach.
yeah, he actually I coached him in basketball and football. Um, Not just him. There's several on that team, but Kareem was actually in 8th grade, then going into 9th grade. So I had him in 8th grade. I was his head coach. He was wing back in the double wing, defensive back, of course, in the secondary. Got to coach him, and then when we went on to spring football, I actually coached the DVs in spring football at Westside High School too. So he was there. And I remember I left. But yeah, Kareem is just one of the few players from Georgia that he went to Westside High School. His nickname was Coco when I coached. Great kid, great person. Went on and been in the NFL now for 14 years. He's with the Broncos now. He was with the Texans for a while. Really good defensive back, but even better person.
For sure. So, Coach, I really want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to come on the show. My final question to you is, obviously I'm a young man myself, and I know you're really heavily involved with the youth. What's your biggest piece of advice for someone like me, and where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Okay. Well, to be real with you, man, I took this opportunity. Really, I mean, I'm not saying this for you to pat me on the back, but for you. You asked me to do it. You have a vision. I feel like I can answer questions all day long to help somebody else out. So I took the opportunity. So all I would say to you is, I go by my C's, okay? And if you go by these C's, I believe you could be successful. The first C is character. Got to have character, not always be a character. Know what the difference is. Second C, class. You don't have to be right. That means you have to admit you're wrong. But for the most part, you're going to have class. Third is consistency. You got to do the things always that you're supposed to do consistently every single day. If you don't do that, don't even start talking about doing other things. The fourth one is courage, right? Obviously, you're trying to call pro coaches, pro athletes. What that takes a certain amount of courage, right? So you got that too, right? After that, you want to have confidence. Have confidence in where you're going, and then do the things that you need to do to maintain that confidence. That means just don't talk about it, be about it. And the last, or the sixth, and I'll tell you there's 7, but the sixth is competition. Compete. Yeah, you got to compete every single day. I'm smart enough to know that I'm really good. I'm intelligent enough to know that there's somebody that knows and there's somebody that's better. So I might have to outwork them. So you got to compete. The last one I'll say, 7th, Christ. If you don't believe in that, I tell people believe in something. But my point is, if you believe in those C's and you follow those C's, you will be successful. Not maybe, you will. I follow them. I believe in them. I think they're what can help me grow and other big grow, whether you're a 48-year-old growing or a 28-year-old growing. In 5 years, I'll be coaching pro football. I'll be training people, training kids, training other people. And I don't know if I'll be working at Crunch, maybe. If it's something where I can coach and come back and do it, I'd love to do it. I don't really want to stop doing it. But yeah, so I'll be coaching pro football, and I'll still be working. I'll have the same schedule, probably getting up early. And that's really about it. Maybe, and the only other thing I could say is maybe by then I might start writing a book by then. So I'll probably write a book before I expire.
Well, Coach, I learned a lot from you today. I really appreciate you, taking the time out of your schedule to come on the show. I look forward to seeing what you have to do, and I know you're going to do great things. So keep going, man.
I appreciate you, man. Well, without a doubt. All my high schoolers out there, college people, be you. I'll be coaching high school football as much as I can, pro football as much as I can, and training just to build you as people, because that's what we do through sports.
Exactly, 100%.
I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer.